Okay, so I'm going to repeat. So we have total 3 sessions left. Today's 7th. Next week is 14th, and then 21st is our last day. So there won't be any lesson on that day, just a final project. So if you have a final project presentation, do that, right? I already really opened up a final project in the Canvas. You can you can build something, a very simple app using React or simple JavaScript, whatever you like, right? Um, uh, you get points on basically your effort and how much you build, basically. I usually give full marks if app is working and not like completely simple app, but something that has one feature at least. Okay, so make sure that you have that um, in your project. All right. Um, let's discuss if you haven't picked, let's discuss what you can pick. So Tristan, do you know what you're building?
I've been thinking like either probably Hangman because it's easy. I could probably do it.
Okay. If you build a hangman, make sure that you have at least one feature working because it is a complex app,
Okay.
right? As at least something working. But it is a great app to build. Um, I will cover a few things for that. You will need
Like like I think I all I need is like how to choose a word and like maybe a text input.
okay, so what you need is the word. So this is
Yeah.
I would approach. Have a fixed word, okay?
Okay.
So let's say a name of a movie, like Godfather is the word, right?
Okay.
Then so GODF, it's a 9 character, right?
Yeah.
So what you have is nine, just give them 9 boxes. Okay.
Uh, yeah.
So based on the length of the word, you give them, you know, 9 boxes, or just because they can pick any character at a time, right? So I can actually pick a vowel or I can pick a consonant, right? Um, and it should basically, if it finds inside, then it fills in, right?
Yeah.
And you win if you find all of them. All
Before like the guy gets hanged.
yes, and then you keep count on keep the the count of how many
Incorrect letters.
yes, no, correct letters.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, how many tries?
Oh
So
yeah, how many tries?
tries,
Yeah.
yeah. You only win if you have all correct, obviously, right? Um, so yeah. Um, you don't really have to um uh so you can let them manually pick. So let's say if I type G, okay, and if G is not inside, then you can see the count going increasing, right? Then
Okay.
I so you can so in user interface wise, if I were to do simple user interface, right? You'll have a bunch of boxes, right? Based let's say 9 boxes for that movie, right? And then you'll have one place where you enter, okay?
Okay.
Your character. So let's say you type G and then you enter, and if G is not there, if G is there, then you clear the G, and then if you enter something else, if that's not there, then the count increase. So every time the count increases anyway. If you are incorrect, if you're correct, the count doesn't increase, right?
Okay.
And you have a maximum, let's say 5 tries or something, 5 failed tries or something.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, it should be a fun game. I like that game. Yeah. Yeah. Let me know next time if you have any issues. Uh, and anyone watching this video, if you have any questions, feel free to join next time, which is May 14th, 5 to 6 p.m. Okay. You can find the Zoom link in the canvas. All right. Kaylin, do you have any idea what you were building?
I was deciding between two things. One of them is like a random generator from like an input list. So you would like input a bunch of things and then they would help you decide what. And then my other one, is like kind of finding like the pattern. So like the game would be like, oh, it shows you the pattern and then you have to like follow what they did and then repeat and then to win the game. But yeah, I'm still trying to decide.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, you can decide until probably next week, because then you'll have at least one. And by next week, we'll pretty much cover all of it, all of the things that we needed to cover for this. Um, I'm just wondering if there's any randomness. If you did you say you have randomness that you wanted to cover?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
so we'll cover randomness today, and then we'll cover two things because like for Hangman, you would need some sort of input. So we'll cover input, and then we'll need a randomness. Okay, let's do that. And then obviously we would need something called conditional rendering. So we'll cover three things today. Okay,
Mhm.
pretty simple actually. Let me share my screen.
Are we gonna be on code.org or Sandbox?
Oh, sandbox.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Not code.org. Why did I say code.org? But okay, Sandbox.
Which one?
No, it's like because I have a class, another class where we use code.org, and I said code.org or Sandbox, but like we don't use code.org, we use CodePen.
Yeah. CodePen doesn't work for this one because it's um how do I say? It's you need all three, right? HTML, CSS, and all right. So let's do that. I'm gonna create I give you a few minutes to create a new sandbox. So let's learn things in isolation, right? And at the end, we'll build a small application using all of that. Okay. So first thing we want to learn is something called conditional rendering. Okay. So I'm just going to go in the app.js. And what we are learning is called conditional rendering. Okay. All right. Make sure you finish when you open it, and I'm just gonna clean this up. Let me know once you're ready.
Okay, when creating a new sandbox, which one do we select again?
React.
Oh, React. Okay.
Yeah, let me know once it's ready and we can start it.
I got it.
All right. Okay. So conditional rendering is you can hide something or show something based on condition, right? So let's take a simple example. Let's say if you have a game and you want to, let's say initially the game is you have like an initial page, right? And then you have a play button. So when you click on play, the game will start, right? And then that button would become stop button, right? Or let's just start with simple. Let's say when you click on a play, the game starts, but then the play button disappears, right? Because there's no need for play button once the game is playing, right? So uh, as always, we need use state, right? So we always import use state from React, right? So always get used to this thing. Now so we're gonna have a button. So let's have that button, and which will say play. Okay. So we have added this use state, and we have added this button called play. Okay. Now, what kind of state do we need? Any idea? Do we need a number, or do we need a Boolean, or do we need a string or an array? So remember, what's going to happen is we can say play game. Okay, click on play to start the game. Okay, so we have something like this. If I click on play, what's going to happen is obviously play button disappears, and this things will say playing. Okay, so how do we achieve that? Any idea what kind of state would I create? Number, string, Boolean, or an array?
Would it be Boolean?
Yeah, it will be Boolean, right? Because it's a decision, play or not play, right? So we can have is playing as a state, and we can say set is playing, okay, as a modifier, right? And we'll have a use state, and then initially it's false, which means it's not playing, right? So it's a Boolean, right? Because we are making a decision whether to play or not play, which is a Boolean decision, right? A binary decision. All right. So the way it's going to work is we want to say, if it's playing, then only show this button, right? Otherwise, don't show this button. So that's the trick. So the way to do this is actually pretty simple. What we do is we would say, and again, because it's a dynamic, we always put it in the curly brackets, right? So we'll just put a curly brackets around here, and we would say is playing and this. This is a very tricky syntax, but essentially what it's saying is, if this is true, then render this. Okay. If it's not true, don't render this. Now, what we want to say is, if it's not playing, which means it is not true, because we only want to have this button when it's not playing. So when you click on it, we can make it play, right? So I'm saying if it's not playing, then show this button, right? Let's try this. Any question on this one?
I'm getting an error.
Me too. I think it's on line 5, the const one.
Okay. Is it exactly like this?
Yes. Yeah. But the set is playing and then false isn't like highlighted in like a color. It's just
What's the error if you hover over?
um, it says cannot assign to read only property message of object and then syntax error.
Okay. Can you
Missing. Oh, it says missing semicolon, I think. I do remember.
can you share your screen? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, no, you have a curly brackets. That's why. It's
Oh,
a
this one?
yeah. It's a parenthesis.
Oh,
Minus parentheses. I'm still getting an error. Oh, user state. Wait.
Use state.
Oh, you not. Oh, it's use state. Okay, that's why I got an error.
And then also, oh, sorry. In that case, you want to say if false, then render this. Sorry. If you had a comment there, right? If false. So what you want to do is you want to negate it, right? So like line 9, you want to put yeah,
oh,
exclamation mark, which means not playing.
oh.
That's what happened. Yeah, there you go. Right?
Mhm.
Yeah, cool. Tristan, you're having the same issue?
I'm still on. It still says I have an error.
Okay. Do you want to share your screen quickly?
Yeah, I'll do that real quick.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay, so yeah. Oh yeah, you forgot to import the used. So line 2, what you want to do is you want to import.
Oh,
Yeah. So anything that you use, you need to import. So it was say import curly brackets, space curly brackets, use state,
wait, what?
use state.
Just type in use state.
Yeah. A capital S. Yeah. 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 That's it.
Okay.
Right? Because use state is a function that you actually borrow from React. Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's why it was missing. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you actually have it such that the play button is showing only because it's playing. If I remove this exclamation mark, which means if it's playing, show it, right? Then it disappears, right? Obviously, we don't want that. So yeah, just to show you how it works. Now, what we want to do is when we click on it, we want this state to change from false. Right now it's false, right? Because the initial state is false. We wanted to change it to true. Okay. So how do we achieve that? Any ideas? There's always, we need a user action, right? Some sort of user action. And this one only when you click on play button, right? So when I click on play button, I want the is playing to become false. Oh, sorry, true, right? Which means it is playing now. So how do I do that? Remember, in React, there are only two things. There's some user does something, and then you change the state, right? And then you react to that state. So basically, so there's a state which has some rules like this, right? So if this is true, then do this. If it's false, then do this, right? And then in React, you have some sort of input, which is a button or input box or whatever, right? And then you have some sort of event, click event or change event or whatever. And on that event, you change the state, okay? You only change the state, make it from true to false or, something else, right? And when you change the state, anything that is depending on the state will re-render, right? So here, what we want to do is we want to have an on-click event on this button, right? So the way it works is I would say on click, okay? And I would need a handle. Remember we learned about a handle? So I would create a handle here, which is nothing but a function, right? Which means if I click on a button, this function should run. So I'm going to call this, let's say, play on play handle. Okay. And then I can use this here, which means when I click on play, anything that's defined in the on play handle would run. All right. And then for that, all I need is to change this state from false to true, right? And I can use this set is playing, and then I would just simply make it true. Okay, that's it. So remember, this is a setter, which means I can use this function to change the value of is playing. So if as soon as I click on it, the button itself disappears. Right? If I want to get it back, I have to refresh it, the screen. And again, as soon as I click on it, it disappears. Got it? Let's try that. So this is called conditional rendering, right? There is a condition and it renders based on a condition using this end. Any questions? Is it working for everyone?
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm still working on it.
All right.
Okay, it seems to be working.
All right. So we can do the same thing for this as well, right? Because this needs to be rendered when it's not playing, right? Because once I click on it, this should go away as well, right? Because there won't be any play button to start. So what I'm going to do is I am going to do the same thing here. So I'm just going to put a curly brackets around, and then I'm going to do this. All right. And refresh it. So as soon as I click on play, both disappear, right? So what should, now you must be wondering, okay, so the all disappear now. What else, right? So I need the game to be playing, and then the button should change to, stop, right? So to achieve that, all I need to do is I'm going to copy both of these guys, and then I am going to change this condition to play is playing, right? And then here I'll put playing, okay? And then here I'll put stop, okay? So let's see. Before it says click on play to start. When I play on, it says playing and stop, right? So this two is showing when it's false. This two is showing when it's true. Remember, I removed the exclamation mark here, right? And that's all there is to it. I mean, conditional rendering is nothing but you create a condition, which is some sort of state, right? And then you have some initial value, right? And based on that, you can say if it's false, render this. If it's true, render this. So what happens when again, when I stop it, nothing is happening. So let's see. When I play, it says playing and stop. When I click on stop, nothing is happening. How do I get back to playing? Because once it stops, you need that play button on, right? So how do I get it back? So any ideas how to implement this? So when I stop, it should go back to the same screen, says click on play to start the game. And this button should change to play. Yep, so we need to implement a button that changes from true back to false. Okay, so to do that, I'm gonna create another handle called on stop handle. Okay, and this would say is playing is false, right? Because we are stopping. And then this stop handle, we would use it on stop button. So now I can play and I can stop. Got it? Any questions? Is it working for you guys?
Yeah, it's working.
All right. So again, when you build any app, you always think about the only thing a user can control is through the action, right? Whether it's a click or entering something, okay? And always think about that has some sort of event, right? And that event has some handle associated with it. And then handle changes the state somehow, right? And then all the states that you can have multiple state. Right now it's a simple game, so you have a simple state, right? Like a Boolean. But ultimately you'll have this kind of conditions and other calculation based on the state. So what really happens is this. When I click on the, let's say, play here, right? So initially the state is false. And when I click on the play here, this on click handle gets executed, which changes um, this state to true, right? And whenever it runs this setter function, it tells the React to say, hey, I've changed state. Can you go and update your screen? So what happens is that behind the scene, it will uh, re-render everything based on this new state. Okay, so that's how it works. All right. Cool. So that was your simple example of how conditional rendering works. All right. I know that you will need two things. The second thing you're gonna need is that input. So for example, as I said in your game, Hangman game, you would need some way to input, right? So maybe let's create a new code sandbox, right? Okay. I wanted to cover the randomness, but I think before that, I think I wanted to cover something. Let's build a I would call this a to-do list. Okay. So if I go in the app.js, I'm gonna call it this a to-do list. Okay. Well, let's start with this. So any idea what the to-do list would have? Let's first design a to-do list. So to-do list would have what? You guys can pick. What should I have in to-do list? Let me actually let's come up with the design first. Okay, let's think about to-do list. Have you guys used a to-do list, first of all?
Yes.
Okay, so what do you usually do in the to-do list?
If it's like online, you probably have like an input box to put in
Okay,
what you want in the list, and then yeah,
okay,
and
so
then
let's say you have a
like
box,
crossing it out,
right? You
or
have
like a checkbox. Yeah.
okay, so you have a box, and then this is where you would enter, right? So let's say you would eat a cookie or take a nap, right? Um, let's say you enter that, right? And then you'll have a button. I'm making a simple one, right? And so this is a button, and it's gonna say submit, right? Or add, let's call it add. All right. So you can enter something here and then you click on add, right? Then underneath, you will have a list. Okay. And this list would be, I'm just picking up. Okay, then you will have, code. Actually, this would be left align, right? Eat, right? They have something like this. And in a simple list, you can actually, if you click on here, let's say if I click on this line, it should just disappear. Let's say make a simple one, right? You enter something here and it gets added here, right? Then if I click on here, it automatically disappear, which means you finish this task, okay? Before we make it complex, let's make it a simple one, all right? All right, so let's do that. And I'll show you how simple this is, right? Remember I said what you need to, well, actually I can share both of these. What you need to do is you need to take your design and then you want to focus on how you want to take that design and you want to convert into something that then you want to build your state, right? So let's see, I have two of these. So first of all, how many state do we need? What states do we need? Any ideas? State means you need to keep track of things, right? That can change. Yeah, whatever comes in your head, you can say, right? I want you to think about your application design, which you're going to work on, right? You're going to do the same thing. So think of what is your state in here in this case? Is it a string, a number, a Boolean, an array?
It would be like an object, right? Or an array.
An array, obviously, right? You could have an object, but I think for this case, I just want to have an array, which is a simple, right? And so it's an array of all the things that I'm going to do, right? So I'm going to put it here, my state. I'm just going to give it a comment. Okay, states. So I need the first state would be, okay, I need two states. One is an array of items or to-dos, right? And the second thing I need is actually when I enter something in this box, right? I want to keep track of that as well, right? Because I'm going to be typing in. So while it only gets added here once I click on the add, right? So I need to track that as well. So I need an array of to-dos and then input text. Okay, so I need two states. And this is a string. And this is obviously an array, right? So this is how you want to approach your problem. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to import useState from React. All right, and we're going to build two states. The first is, as I said, input text. Again, it's the same way to do that. Input text set input text equal to useState. And then initially I just want to have like empty string, which means there's nothing, right? And then the second one is going to be the I'm gonna say to do list, and then I'm gonna say set to do list equal to use state. And initially I'm gonna have an empty array. Okay, so this is how I want to approach it. I want to figure out what I need. So I build two states. One is input box, which is initially empty. And again, if you have this pattern, just follow this pattern. Define your state, import this use state, and then define your state. Okay, so this is going to drive your application. Okay, now I need three things. I need that input box, I need a button, and I need the list, right? So get to this point, and then we'll add that. All right, everyone see this point?
Yes.
All right. So now we want to build those two things, right? So first we're going to build the input box, right? An input box is pretty simple. So let's say input. So this is our input, right? And then we would need a button, right? Which says add, right? All right, so what's going to happen is the input, and this, pay attention to this one because you're going to need, Tristan, you're going to need this for your game, right? So let's say a user say, okay, G or A or B, whatever, right? And then add or find, right? When he does that, then it tries to find this if it exists or not, right? So what we want to do is, first of all, as soon as you type something, so let's say if I type A here, right? As soon as you type something, you want to grab that and then save in your this input state, okay? And then when user clicks on add, you already have this saved in this state. So all you do is push that into this to-do list, right? That's how we want to do that. So far we know how the on click works for button, but for input, we have never done anything, right? So we haven't explored any other event. So for input, there is an event called on change event. Okay. It's a similar way. Instead of on click, it's on change. So when you type it in, this function gets called. And we will have handle as well. I'm gonna call it on change handle, right? And then do this. Okay. So what happens as I type, every time I have a keystroke, it's gonna execute this function. Okay. Now, how do I grab what I have typed in here? So this is kind of weird, but you have to just remember it. So what happens when I type it in here? The event for typing in gets published, okay? And you can grab that event through the argument, okay? Again, this is kind of a little odd, but what happens when I change it, the event gets published, and you can grab this event. And this event has a target. So there can be many things, right? So it tells you which, if I want to get this, what I've typed, I can simply get it using event dot target dot value. Okay. This will give me this. Okay. And all I have to do is use a set input text, right? And then pass that in, set this. So what happens as I type, every time I type, this on change event gets published, and this event would get set using this set. So my input text now has that value that I've typed in. So if I want to verify it, all I have to do is simply, if I just see if my input text has something. Let's say, I'm just gonna hide first of all. And then if I type A, you can see it's A coming in here, right? So this is how it works. You just have to remember this. So for input, you have to do exactly like this. For click event, there is no such thing, right? You just say, hey, just run this when I click on it, because you're not passing anything in. But for input, you're passing the, whatever the text you typed in, right? So that you can grab it through here and then set it. Okay. I'm just gonna remove it for now, but yeah. Any questions? Okay. Now that you have this, there's the one kind of weird thing that you have to do. Each of these, has some kind of weirdness. So for input, you need another parameter here called value. Okay. And this is, let's say initially, if you want to set some initial value, you can use this input text back. It's almost like it's a feedback, right? So let's say initially I can say whatever this default. Let's say if I want to have a default input. So if I set this, then this gets set here, right? And then once I change it, it's a kind of feedback. I'm changing this and it's changing it back here. So again, I don't want any default here, but that's how it works. So input has two things, on change and also has a value, right? So from on change, you change the input text and then you set back here. If you don't do this, then it creates some problems. So make sure you do this. Okay. All right. Now that you have this, let me just put the button here. What happens when I click on add? What do we want to do now?
Add it to the list.
Yeah,
No, not the list,
to-do
the
list.
array.
Yeah, to the array, which is a to-do list array, right? So this using this set to-do list. Okay. So what we want to do is, again, this is a button, so we have a traditional on click event, right? And then I'm going to create another function here. I'm going to call it on add to list handle, right? And I'm going to use this here when I click on it. Now there are some nuances here because, you know, um, the way we want to add it, it's for like simple values like numbers and booleans, you can simply do this, set a new value and it changes the value, no problem, right? But if it's an array, you have to create that new value from the existing value. Think about this. Let's say if I have a ABC, you have a let's say a list, and I have three things. I have A, B, C, three things inside, right? Three strings. And I'm adding another one called D. So what I want to do is I want to create that new array with A, B, C, and D. Okay. And I want to replace it, right? So how do I get that the existing value and the new value added? So what I need to do is first take the existing value and create a copy of it, right? Because I cannot directly modify the existing value. So what I'm going to do is this. I think we learned this, but if you haven't learned, then it's kind of simple. What we want to do is we create a copy of the to-do list. And you can create a copy of to-do list using this syntax. Okay, so this actually create a copy of to-do list. And you can call it a copy simply. Okay. And then we want to add we want to say copy dot push, right? The input text. So what's going to happen is initially in this case, the copy is going to have empty array, right? And then I'm going to push this. So which means it's going to add this input text into that copy. And then I take the copy and then I set this to-do list back. Right? Because this to-do list is not a simple primitive value like Boolean or text, you always want to do this. You take the existing value, you create a copy of it, and then you modify it, the copy, and then you take the copy and then set the new value. So you're just simply replacing it, right? Any question on this one? Because this is a key thing to remember. Whenever you update a state that is an object or an array, this is what you want to do. And if I want to simply test it, you can test any state by simply doing this curly brackets and then just put the state here. So the state is to-do list, right? So I can just put this here like this. All right. And if I say A add, then B add, then C add, you can see it's adding to that existing. I mean, it's an array, but it just, when I print like this, it just converts into a string, right? So, but you can see it's working. All right. Any questions? All right, here what I can do, just simply do a break here. And then,
Oh, wait, mine's giving me an error.
okay, what is the error?
It says, can I actually just share my screen?
Sure. Oh yeah, I know why. You put the on add handle inside the on change handle. That's why it needs to be outside.
Wait, where?
No, line 14, right?
On add handle.
Yeah, that should be outside of the, so the line 12 is your on change handle, right?
Yeah.
It should not be inside that. It should be outside.
Oh, wait. So get rid of this and then
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
I also have an issue. I think when I input it, it doesn't put it into the list.
All right. Can you show me yours?
Yeah. It's
Uh,
not fine.
oh yeah, I know why. You see line 10?
Yes.
I think you have a misspelled. It's supposed, well, there you have a
Oh,
lowercase L, and over there you have a uppercase. Yeah,
okay.
that's why. You can have, it doesn't matter what you do, but have a consistent, right? Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. So, all right. And lastly, I'm just gonna put a break here. And then if let's see, I think if I put a things here, then it would show at the bottom here, right? So, I mean, I could use flex layout, but I'm just gonna use break for now, okay? So we can finish it. Okay, for the list, what I'm gonna do is, this is something we haven't learned, okay? So we need to display the list. So, because list, if I want to have a single value like input, right? I can do this, input text, no problem. It works, right? But if I have a list, I need to iterate through each item and then put it, right? And the way I remember when we looked at the array, we learned something called a map function, right? And a map function, what it does, it takes the value of every element of the array and it maps it to something else. So let's say if I wanna double every value of array, then I would do something like this. So I can, if I have an array of some numbers, let's say if I have 1, 2, 3, right? And if I do map and I take the value and then I would do this, double every value, right? So what it's going to do, it's going to give me 2, 4, and 6. Okay. Now here we have an array of, things like a to-do list. Okay. So we don't want to double it or triple it, but what we want to do is instead of taking a simple string, we want to just make it an HTML element, right? So we'll do the same thing. But instead of multiplying by each string, we will put some tags around it. So the way to do this is we'll have a curly brackets, right? And we'll take our to-do list and we would say map it, okay? And we'll have a value. I'm going to call it item, okay? It doesn't matter what you call it. And then here, instead of like doubling it or anything like that, I'm just gonna put some you know divs around it. Right? So basically what it does, it it converts simple strings inside that array into an element, HTML element. Okay. So Let's see. Did I make a mistake? To-do list. This is the to-do list. Okay, map item. Oh, I didn't have an extra of these. Yeah, this is better looking. So I can say take a nap, add, clear it, eat a chocolate, clear it. I don't know, read a book. Right? So what it does, as I said, it takes the every element and it puts a div around it. So each of these elements have nothing but divs. Okay. So let's go to here. Well, I'm just gonna take this phone call.
I'm getting an error. I think it's like I'm missing a parenthesis, but I don't see where. You're muted, by the way.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and share the screen.
All right.
Uh, mm. Oh, yes. So yeah, so the way it works is you have a map, right? And so item, it doesn't close. You see the parenthesis after item, right? That needs to be before you need to remove that. And
This?
the yellow parenthesis. No, not that. The one after map.
Oh,
Yeah,
this?
do that. And you need to put it after the div.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait, I'm still getting an error.
Yeah, can you save it first? Yeah. Okay, now, oh yeah, also your div, so the opening and closing has
Oh,
a, not that, not that, the closing has slash, not the opening. The front, in the front usually. Only one slash. There you go. Now try.
okay. Oh,
Let's see, why is that? Uh, to-do list. Oh yeah, you forgot. Yeah, you forgot to line 17. So when you added it, so you created a copy, right? But now what
yeah.
you need is you need to take that you still need to call the set to-do list, right? You know, the one you define in 10, line 10.
Oh, so it would be, I forgot what it would be.
Set to-do list.
Set to do
Yeah.
list.
Yeah, and then parenthesis, and you pass the copy there, right? Yeah, that's it. And that's because remember, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Any question here, by the way?
No, I think it works.
All right. make sure you understand that thoroughly, right? Because that's most important. If you look at the number of lines, it's really barely 30, 31 lines of code, right? And that's the beauty of this. It focuses on just changing the state. That's it. That's all you do. And it takes care of automatically updating it, right? You don't really update anything. So one thing I forgot to do is when you add it, what I want to do is I want to clean up this, right? Because I usually don't add the same thing over and over. So what I want to do is when I add it here, I also want to set the input text to empty, right? So I want to make this empty, which means then it doesn't add it, right? So let's say once I say read a book and add it, you see it get cleaned up, right? So this is what I want. Got it. Any questions? All right. Lastly, we're gonna have, what if you want to delete this? So to do to-do list, you have a strategy to delete anything that you finish, right? So let's say if once I finish reading a book, all I have to do is click on that and it just disappears itself, right? So for that, what we're gonna do is we can add an on-click event. Okay. And then we can have another handle here we're gonna call it function on delete handle, right? And then use this here. So when you click on each item, it will delete this. So what is missing here? I think when I click on it, how does it know which item I clicked, right? Because all I want to do is in the list, I need to find that item. So let's say if I clicked on read a book, which is the first item, right? So when I clicked on this, I want to pass this information, say it's the first item in the list, right? So I want to pass it the index into the list here. So I want to pass this index. So I can find, what I can do is then I can delete based on the index. Okay. Right now, there is no easy way to pass this from when I click on it. Right? Because I'm just passing the handle. I'm not passing the, I don't have a way to do this, right? I cannot do this right now. Otherwise, I can pass the item, right? This item, I can pass the item like this, right? I don't have that. So what I'm going to do is, the best way to do it is, you have a function, and this is a little bit odd, but what you do, you create another, in a way you create another handle, and then here you would pass the item, right? But instead of passing the item, there's another way, which is I can get an index from here. Okay, so when I do the map function, I get two things. I get an item and I get an index. And I can take this index and pass it in here. Okay, which shows up here. So when I click on read a book, it passes 0, right? Because an array has index starting from 0. If I click here, it passes 1. If I click here, it passes 2. Right? So this is how you can pass information from here to the function. Anytime you want to pass information, all you have to do is just wrap it with another function and then pass something in. Never do this. Never do this. This is not good, right? You have to really pass a function and do this. Okay. So when I click on a read a book, I will get the index is 0. So it will give me 0. Okay, so now once I get that 0, what I need to do exactly the same thing. I need to create a copy first of whatever is there already in the list, right? Then I need to remove the item at that index. And remember when we learn about the arrays, we learn about removing something at the index. So the way it works is copy dot the splice function. If you don't remember, splice, we pass the index and we pass how many items we want to remove. So I want to pass one item, remove one item, right? So what this does is it removes the item at the 0th index. If I click on here, and it exactly removes one item. So my copy now has only 2 items instead of 3. And then I can do the same thing. I would just take this to-do list, copy, and then do this. Okay, let me show you. So let's do this. Read a book, add, eat a chocolate, add, take a nap. Okay, so now if I click on eat a chocolate, it disappears. If I click on take a nap, it disappears. If I click on read a book, it disappears. All right, so this is the code. Let me know once it executes for you. Any question, by the way? So we now pretty much cover everything that we wanted to do. I think these is all the skills you would need to build the application. And next time we can do randomization, because I wanted to cover here, but I didn't have any application to build. But I think building a to-do list was very important.
Real quick, when I try to type in something, it says on click and then the thing I typed, and my delete thing isn't working.
All right, do you want to share?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, so first of all, let's look at the on add handle.
Wait, the function or the
Okay, I'm
or
just
the
checking
input?
add handle. Looks like it's fine. Why is it adding? Okay, can you go up a little bit? Okay. Okay, let's all right, can you try again? I want to know how it works. Why is it ads on click everywhere? That is strange. Okay, can you go down further? Okay, that's it. Okay. That is super strange. It somehow appends.
Oh, and also the thing isn't working where I delete it.
Yeah, that's a different story. Hold on. Um, yeah, that's because what you want to do is line 36.
Line 36.
Yeah, what you want to do is you want to first create a function. So just
The function's right here.
no, the arrow function. So you would have a parenthesis.
Right.
Yeah, inside before on finish item. Let me show you.
Parentheses.
No, inside, not there. You can remove that parenthesis after curly brackets. Okay, I'll show you.
After, okay.
Let me share my screen. Hold on. Okay, you see here, you want to do curly brackets, right? Inside you have a parenthesis, arrow function, then your function, and then index like this. This is your unfinished, right? Final handoff, yeah.
One second.
Works?
No.
Make sure it's exactly like this. So equal sign, then curly brackets, parenthesis, arrow function, exactly like that.
Oh, it's missing a. Wait, no, it's not. What? Oh, I'm missing brackets. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's still giving me an error though.
All right, do you want to share again?
Yeah.
What about Kaylin? Is it working for you?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so on click on finish item. Okay. Mm. Okay, what does it say? Index is not defined. Oh, yeah. Line 34. What you want to do is after item, comma and index. You see item line 34?
Right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
But it's still adding the on-click thing.
That is so weird. Where is that adding that?
Oh wait, why is it? There we go. Okay.
It's still adding it?
Yeah, it's still adding it.
What is going on there? Okay, you have it on change handle. That's where it's coming from, on change, right?
Here?
Yeah, I don't see.
Oh wait, is it?
Yeah, so that is on change, right? So I don't, so if you go up on change function, on change handle, set input event target.value, that is correct. That is so strange. I don't know. I don't know where is it coming from. That is so strange. It's definitely a function, on 12, right? The on change function.
I would
Oh,
assume
sorry, no,
so.
it's an add function, my bad. It's on add because
Oh yeah, on add handle.
add handle, right? So what happens is mm,
Makes a copy,
it creates a
and then it
copy.
adds the input text.
Input text by then is somehow why does it append on click there? So line 17 where is actually doing it, right? Where it adds to that item. Maybe it's that, or maybe when it's displaying something. Let's go down. Oh yeah, like there. Line 37, you have an on click in front. Yeah, you need to remove that.
Oh, is
Yeah,
that just it?
yeah, that's it. There you go.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Okay.
that's it. Yeah, cool. So yeah, I would say I've taught you pretty much 50% of what's in React, right? Obviously, there is a lot more, but this should give you, all the skills to build. We covered the condition rendering, right? We covered if you have a list, how to render that, right? Using the map function, and you can follow the same pattern, right? Um, we looked at on change handle, and we managed to do multiple state, right? So, yeah, and you can see how easy it is to build application. Same thing if you try to build in raw JavaScript. I guarantee you it will be at least 200 to 300 lines of code. What we did, and it's much complex, right? So React makes your life much easier. You can see. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, start working on your project. Make sure you design it. Think about what states you need and all that stuff. And next time when we meet, there are a few things I need to cover. I think one is the randomness, right? And a couple other things depends on your project, right? So make sure you bring that issues next, because then you'll have 1 week to work on it. All right. Any final thoughts, questions?
Wait, so we present on the 21st?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Cool. All right. I'll see you then next week.
Thank you. Bye.